to talk about the iSmoothRun app and how well it works on the Apple Watch and iPhone, and just talk about some of the advantages, disadvantages, things I experienced as I was using it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the app itself, then I'm going to talk about the watch, because they're two separate entities, so I'm going to give each a review and talk about them. All right, so the app, very straightforward workout app, very similar to anything out there, whether free or paid for. Does basic running, biking, treadmill, things of that nature. So it's very simple to use. You choose an activity that you're going to do and you press start. There are some cool things it does. There are workouts you can customize and create on the app. There are, you can do things like interval training with the app. It does connect to an external heart rate device. I tested it on my Polar H10 and it did work just fine. Connected, heart rate worked great. One thing that did not work on the app is I could not connect my heart rate from my watch to the actual app, which I thought was kind of strange, that it didn't just connect. I went online, did a bunch of reading, found where the person who runs the app made a bunch of suggestions to get it to work, like ensuring that things are set up right in Apple Health, things are set up right on the app. Tried them all, nothing. Could not get my heart rate from the watch to show up on the app, because I thought it would be cool when I'm biking to have my heart rate from my watch on the app, but nope, I need to use an external heart rate sensor if I'm going to do it. One of the cool things it does, you can export to all the main places you want to export. So you can edit one of your workouts on the app, and then you can export it anywhere, Training Peaks, Strava, Garmin Connect, any of the main places you want to export to, it exports there. So I like that. And as I just mentioned, you can edit the workouts, which is a really great feature on the app. One of the things by default, your workouts are auto paused. And what I found with the app, I did a run with the app where it was in my hand and in my pocket. And for those workouts, the workout was actually auto paused by default and it didn't record the workouts, which I thought was kind of strange. So what's the point of auto pause when I'm running if it's not going to record me moving the phone? So make sure you turn auto pause off, because I did lose 2 workouts testing it on my shorts and then testing it in my hand. It just did not work for either of them. Now on the bike, the auto pause seemed to work really good when I was moving and stopping, but I just suggest turning it off altogether because it did not work. There are intervals, as I said, they do work. There are audio cues, which do work, and there are custom workouts you can set up, which do work. So the app itself, I didn't have many issues with. It worked pretty well besides the few main things. I did think the HR not connecting to the app was very strange. So now let's get to the Apple Watch. And unfortunately, my test did not go as smooth as they did with the app. In fact, I ran into problem after problem. I was able to get around some of the problems, but let's talk about what those issues were. So first of all, from the watch, so let's say I'm using the watch without my phone. I was able to start a workout, like if I'm running, biking, whatever, I start a workout and I go and I do my workout. Now, the biggest issues I had was the part where the watch and app, they don't communicate with one another. They don't function well together. In fact, I couldn't really get them to function at all together. I had issue after issue. So what happens is, first of all, when you're setting up a workout, there's an option for watch plus iPhone. If you set that up, your watch and iPhone should be together. Like if you check, you could be able to, check your stats on the app. But I was not able to get that to work. I read reviews where the developer was saying start that workout from your watch. I saw other people saying start the workout from your phone. I saw other workarounds. I tried everything. None of those workarounds seemed to work, and other people had the same complaint. So what would happen is if I would do a workout on my watch, when I was done with the workout would not show up in the app. Now, the weird thing is the workout would show up in Apple Health. It would show up in the activity app. It would show up anywhere I had Apple Health send it. I could not for the life of me get that workout to show up, though, in iSmoothRun app, which meant that if I looked at my training log, it only was showing me workouts that I did with the phone, not workouts that I did with the watch. Which was a big problem. The other thing about the watch app is there are all these stats, like I can scroll the screen and see statistics from my run, like my weekly stats and what happened was they're just not there. As soon as you're done with the workout on the watch, it just disappears. You push save and close, and you don't know what happened to it because you can't go back and see it. The stat screen is just completely blank. And then I can't check their app to make sure it worked. I have to go into Apple's activity app to see if it worked, which was kind of the point of using the app, is I wouldn't have to do that. So I could not get that communication to work. So watch plus iPhone just doesn't work. You can't connect them together in this. And that's something to be said because, one of the big problems that I have with the native Apple Watch, the running app, or any of the apps like Watch or Biking, is that when I click on the app, it just says 3, 2, 1, start, and I can't tell that my HR is locked, and I can't tell that my GPS is locked, which means for the first few seconds to minutes of a workout, it's not collecting that data. It could be making it up, or it's not connecting. And sometimes it connects really quick, but it's not telling me that it's connected before I start. This app, on the app itself on the phone, I can press check sensor, and it tells me GPS connected, HR sensor connected. But guess what? On the watch, it does not do that at all. It's the same thing as Apple. I can't tell on the watch if my heart rate is connected and my GPS is connected. And you know what? They weren't. Every time I would start a workout, it would take 10 seconds for the HR to connect every single time. So that's another issue with this, that I did have a problem with. And then, the workouts are not exported to the actual app, which is a problem. They just don't show up. Okay, so then there are some settings in the app itself, like I can change the display, the watch face. But what would happen is I would change those in the app, and they wouldn't translate to my watch. Again, there's just this lack of communication. I found a bunch of other people in the reviews that had the same complaints as me. So this isn't just me having issues. Tons of other people were having the same things. So I couldn't customize the faces on this. There were just those problems. And then just a minor thing is that there's no complication for the app. So that meant that when I have to click in the apps to actually get it to open. Small minor thing, but still kind of, I wish there was a complication. All right, so those are the things that worked and did not work. So who do I think this app is for? I think if you're a runner and want to do interval training, it could be good for that. Because, you can click the intervals on the watch. But as far as data, you're not really getting any more data than Apple now, because Apple now has Cadence, and they're starting to improve that app a little bit. And the biggest problem is I couldn't get any more data from this watch because it was just going into the activity app, giving me the same data that Apple's giving me. And I would put it in the training peaks, and I'm really not getting anything different. I'm getting Cadence, but I'm now getting that from I'm getting that from my Apple Activity app now anyway by default. So I think it could be useful for someone looking for a straight run app that they're only going to use the watch for. As far as using it for on the phone itself, there's so many free apps out there for just the phone that I don't know why you would pay for this. Overall, I really felt like this app was an alpha version. I wouldn't give this app to a client. It does, I feel like I'm being a little harsh, but the app does cost $5.99. So I think I have to be harsh. It's a completed product that I paid for. If it was free and the developer was like, hey, I'm working on some of these issues, I'd be a little lenient, but it's not free. It's $6. I expect it to be 100% done and ready to go and packaged. I would not be giving this to a client. It's 50% done. There are so many things that did not work. It's not user-friendly. There were a lot of issues. I was going in and just finding workarounds for things. If I'm finding workarounds to get an app to work, there are major issues because people won't spend more than a few seconds trying to get something to work. And the workarounds weren't working. And a lot of the suggestions for the workarounds were from the developer, and they still were not working. Why? Because it's a small man operation, and I understand that. I get it. It's hard. But when you're putting out, saying something's finished and charging money for it, it's got to be finished or else it's just not ready. For $6, I want it for an app. I want it to be working. I want it to do what it says it's going to do. This app does not do what it says it's going to do. There were so many things broken. If you even go in and look at the reviews, a lot of the people that gave the app high reviews said a lot of features aren't working, but I love that it does this one thing that they were looking for. I can't give an app 4 or 5 stars when 50% of it is broken. I'm sorry. Even if it does one thing I like, it is not a 5-star review. So, as far as buying it, I really think the native Apple Watch app is better than this. It's until this app is working. If this app was polished and working, I would have a much different review. But I ran into too many problems. Too many things were not working. Why? Because Apple keeps changing their OS all the time. They're not changing it a lot, but when you're talking about a small team trying to keep up with that recycling and that cycle, it's really difficult. So, I don't think the app is worth paying $6 for. I think it was a free app that someone was working on, and maybe it was a group working on like some open source project. That would be kind of a cool idea. But as far as paying for it, I don't think it's worth it. I just had a lot of issues with something being so broken. It wasn't just one issue. It was like 10 to 12 issues. HR not working on the app. Apps or workouts not showing up on the phone. Just so many. The display setting on the app not working on my watch. There's a watch plus iPhone setting that just doesn't work at all. No way to get it to work. Just so many problems like that. I just really can't recommend it. Thank you.